Hey everyone, Joe back, Mike back, another episode. Today we're going to be talking about how to make, stop, don't take that hand sanitizer, Mike. Today we're going to be talking about how to make proper business decisions in your online business. Make better business decisions, rather. And this is really an interesting topic because I feel like a lot of people who contact us, a lot of our students, they really, really struggle with this. And I think this is something that maybe a lot of people struggle with in real life is making decisions. And it's true that there's a certain thing called decision fatigue, where if you're making too many decisions constantly, like it actually makes you tired, like it makes you mentally tired. And that is a real phenomenon. But we're going to kind of talk we're going to talk about how we make decisions, and I guess the number most important, the speed at which we make decisions. So, Mike, I want to throw something at you, and let me know your thoughts. When we tend to make decisions very quickly, and the reason for that is because we know that most of the decisions that we're going to be making will not have a financial impact on us, and it's something that we can fix later. And I think for most things in online business, that is the truth. So when we're thinking about like suppliers to call or something like that, like you might not want to get a supplier, but like sometimes like I'll just call them anyway, maybe get the price list, and then you'll be like, nah, we're not, we're not gonna use them. But I think that's better than having a long discussion between us or in your head about whether you should call a supplier. Like, because most decisions don't cost you anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What you're trying to say is that people essentially like give too much gravity to decisions that don't really need much at all, especially in terms of the financial outcome of that decision. So, yeah, like in terms of a supplier, people ask us questions like, "Oh, should I call them?" This, and that, and to even be like having these doubts and whatever in your head about calling a supplier is useless because it's going to drain your energy. You're wasting time. And if you just called the supplier, you'd be better off for it no matter what, because you get experience calling them. It's not going to cost you anything, and it could lead to something good. So, yeah, people waste way too much time on decisions that need to be done quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's real decisions that lie ahead, and you don't want to be drained by the time you get to those, because big decisions could be hard to make, and you want to get to those big decisions as quick as possible, and also in the best state possible.
Yeah, and I feel like nowadays, or maybe this was always the case, but I guess I'm just noticing it, is that all of our days, what they come down to is just making a million little decisions. And that's pretty much all we do, is make decisions and take little actions based on those decisions. But I feel like it's the actual making of the decisions that requires the most energy. And yeah, I agree with what you said, that if you're not reserving your most of your energy for those big decisions, then you're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, it's like you're putting yourself through all this extra mental strain that does wear on you, and by the time it comes down to actually do something big, you're worn out, you're already defeated.
Yeah.
But so we make mostly decisions now.
Yeah.
But I'm just laughing at it's such a nonsensical thing to say. But what we mean is because we have so much outsourced, really our main job is to decide what people need to be doing.
Yeah.
Including, ourselves to a degree, because there's so much that we can do now because we have so much manpower that it really is we've taken care of all the bare bones tasks of a lot of our business, like the SEO side of our business and the dropshipping side, that like the regular stuff just gets done. So those are like non-decision tasks, like answering an email, fulfilling an order, things like that. Now we're more so in a state of deciding what the future needs to be and how to essentially navigate that. It's like playing chess.
Yeah. when you're starting out, and I think this needs to be emphasized, is there's very few decisions you can make that's going to hurt you. And I want to talk about when we made our first drop shipping store, because the way I remember it, and I want to talk specifically about calling suppliers and finding the suppliers that we were going to use for our first ever store. Pretty much all the information that we knew was that you need to get suppliers that sell expensive stuff, and that's it. We knew that there was a few niches like to stay away from, like stupid stuff that you wouldn't even think, like mattresses or something like that. Because those are dominated by like, what are those big mattress brands you always see the ads for? They all sell direct, yada yada yada. But so pretty much all we knew was that you have to get suppliers that sell expensive stuff, and we didn't even really think about it too much. Like we picked our niche, I think within seconds. Like we had
within a day we picked it.
Within a day, but it was
within a day.
I don't even know if there was much analysis at all done. We just thought like, hey, that's a good idea. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. And I think that's the key, is that when you're starting out, you have no idea what's going to work. And we've touched on this before, but people always want these verifiable metrics to know, is this going to work? Is this going to work? Is this going to work? And they ask us these questions, but the truth is like, you don't know until you try.
And that's really because the main point of failure is usually you.
That's right.
So it's like something could work for someone else, but for you, is it going to work? For your current financial situation, for your current motivational situation, your time. So it's like, we give you, I think, details that are very, very helpful, and people have gone on and, like the logistics to success, especially for like our dropshipping course, it's very straightforward. But when people get caught up in the details and they want to have every single detail verified, it's almost impossible to do. And on top of what you were saying, that people like are making decisions in the very beginning and they're wasting time, but they have no experience to actually go off of when it comes to making these decisions.
Yeah.
So that's why there's no point in wasting time on it. You need to get past that as fast as possible, learn from it, and then now you can be better off and you have the experience to actually make more meaningful decisions down the line.
The old business adage is that the failures are really the valuable insights, and they have to be your failures. They really, really do. You have to fail, and fail quickly, to know what's going to work in the future. And you touched on something very important when you said this might work for someone else, but will it work for you? And you touched on someone's financial state and their motivational state and stuff like that. And I wanted to dive a little deeper and give an example. So say you're doing drop shipping and you have a supplier, and this supplier is kind of competitive on Google Shopping, right? You're paying a lot per click. There's a lot of other vendors trying to sell this brand. And so if you're in a bad financial situation, you don't have a lot of ad budget or whatever, that supplier might not be the best fit out of the gate for you. But you can use, if you have a lot of motivation left in the tank, you can write a bunch of your own content about the suppliers that product sells, or the products that supplier sells. And 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, 8 months down the line, you start ranking that content in Google, then you've bypassed the need to run ads to that product, hypothetically.
And on top of that, you can do things like make custom like bundles that include that supplier. There's different ways to deal with competitors, or you could just even make the ads low, like just bid low and see what happens. But the point is that if you're looking online and you see, okay, they have 25 competitors, what do I do? I'm gonna
pull my hair out.
What?
Nah, I'm just going. I'm thinking in someone's head. They're trying to decide.
I can't see what you're doing. I thought you.
Oh yeah, true.
But yeah, so by the time you even get to the point of mustering up the motivation to call the supplier, you're already defeated. And it shouldn't be like that. Unless you're betting the house on a particular action or decision, then there's no point in thinking too much about it. You just have to do it.
Yeah.
And just see where the chips fall.
Yeah, and most decisions that you're making, you're not betting the house on. When those decisions come along, then you'll know what they are. You'll have a good idea of what they are. So,
and I should add, like, this is really a lot of what self-help stuff, like Tony Robbins stuff. If you go to a Tony Robbins seminar, probably like Unleash the Power Within, a lot of what he does is just teaching you how to pump up your own state. Because if you can pump up your own state and get into this highly motivated and you feel good and stuff like that, you're not going to be as easily bogged down by decisions, and you're going to be in a more positive mood, and so you'll have a more positive outlook on things, and it's just, you're more likely to not get hung up on stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really how that leads to success.
it's really funny you brought that up, because I was trying to think of that, but I couldn't really find the words to say it. Because this is something that we used to be kind of big on, was getting our state in the right place before we took action for the day. You know, we'd get in with the breathing exercises, and before we'd start.
That.
Well, I don't do anything. I just sit at the table and I'm like, oh God, all right, let's go. I just sit at the table and wait until the switch goes off, until I'm ready to get up and start taking action. But I did want to touch on that, is that, getting into the state is something that's important, and you have to realize that you have a finite amount of mental energy that you're going to be able to expend that day. And if you're spending it on decision making, that's not going to matter in the long run, then you're wasting their time. So really, energy management is key. Like, I was just doing some for our real estate project that we're trying to get off the ground. I was just doing something that was like really tedious. I was like listing something on Craigslist, and so I was like, oh my God, I'm halfway through filling out the page, and I'm like, I can't even look at this anymore. So I went and I did some pull-ups, came back, filled out a little more, did some more pull-ups, came back, and just these stupid little things to kind of get the energy up, and get through to finish what needs to happen. You got to be able to manage yourself in that way.
And I should also add, I think, it's especially important in the beginning stages of things, because that's when the most grind is required.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to be in a high state, like, for drop shipping. If I just go onto Skype and say hello to my, staff and just tell them what to do, I can really, it would probably reflect how, like, I treat them, or, if I get mad or something, but it's not, my state there isn't going to really affect the actual business sales for the day. But it does especially matter when you're learning something new and you're forced to grind and really get through a bunch of just little things. You're learning little thing after little thing, and it gets tedious, and that's why you need to be in a good state. And I should also say, like, when I first started doing Kindle, I would just do it after I would get home from my job, and, like, I would always use that time, that commute home. I would, like, get a coffee or something and just drive home, drink the coffee, get caffeinated, get my state up, and then when I came home, I would just be ready to, grind it out. And so I would just take as much action as possible, because I was in a really good state by the time I got to it.
Yeah. And I want to also say that it's important to really, when you have those peaks, because I don't think now, when you're talking about the way you did that the Kindle business, and when I first started in retail arbitrage, the way I started doing it, those peaks are not going to last forever. So when you have those peaks, be sure to take advantage of them, and take mental note of when the peak of energy is starting to drain because you're making too many decisions. I think that's really important. So with that, we're going to wrap it up, because it looks like Mike is disconnected. BuildAssetsOnline.com/playbook for our free course, and buildassetsonline.com/membership if you want to work with us one-on-one. And of course, don't forget to visit buildassetsonline.com/asset if you want to learn more about our dropshipping course. So that's it for this one, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.